Compared to other genres, horror has the most dedicated and die-hard fans around. While the slasher icons of the 80s have seen better days, it's good to know the fans are keeping them alive and well to kill again and again. So today I'm focusing on a pair of fan films that will get your heart racing, especially fans of the Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchises. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. The Fall of Camp Blood, a Friday the 13th fan film, aka Reviving Camp Blood, is new on YouTube. I have the link to that short film down below before the comments. It's directed by Riley Lorden and written by Riley Lorden and Nick Christian. Until Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller grow up and stop slap fighting long enough to understand that they're missing out on a monster truckload of money by refusing to come to an agreement on the future of the Friday the 13th franchise, we're going to have to put up with fan films to fill the gap. Fortunately, it turns out that Friday the 13th fans not only feel passionately about the franchise, but some of them are quite talented too. Last month, The Fall of Camp Blood was released on YouTube. It snuck past me when it was released, but I was able to catch up with the 54-minute flick this weekend. The Fall of Camp Blood is set minutes after Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, ends, with a police crew showing up and carting off the dead bodies. Despite getting his skull cleaved by a young Corey Feldman, Jason had a weak pulse, so the paramedics attempt to revive the masked killer on their way to the hospital and hopefully save his life. But the accompanying police officer is ordered to make sure Jason never makes it to the hospital alive. Needless to say, Jason escapes. It might have been a little too reminiscent of the opening scenes from Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, but nevertheless, it's a daring and exciting sequence that sets the bar high for the rest of the film. Once this exciting beginning is over, things do slow down considerably and fall back into the Friday the 13th routine with a group of kids heading to a cabin on Crystal Lake 1 year later. The police force has been covering up Jason's murder sprees and have buried an empty coffin in the graveyard we come to see in Part 6 Jason Lives, which is my favorite Friday the 13th, by the way. While I found the new set of campers to be kind of forgettable, The Fall of Camp Blood does add to Friday the 13th lore by introducing James Deere to the mix. James, played by Peter Anthony, is a muscle-bound tank who looks almost as monstrous as Jason himself. He also has a huge mat-on for Jason because James is the brother of Jason hunter Rob Deere, played by Eric Anderson in Part 4, and the bouncy Sandra, played by Marta Kobler from Part 2. James digs the grave up and finds it empty, sending him on an adrenaline-fueled rampage to Crystal Lake to take on Jason. The Fall of Camp Blood turned out to be an extremely entertaining film. I think it peaked early with the escape of Jason from the paramedics and the police officer, but it turned out to be brutal and full of surprises. I think it might have been a missed opportunity since the intriguing plot with a pair of paramedics doing their job trying to save a mass murderer with a cop who's been ordered to kill him would have made for a great film in itself. While the rest of the film is fun, it never reaches that level of greatness after the opener. That said, though, there are some brutal kills and strong scares. While there isn't over-the-top gore, Jason gets in some very memorable and chilling sequences. I especially love a scene where Jason kicks a woman through a door, and another hammer scene that is downright gnarly. The best scenes are the ones where Jason sort of meets his match when he collides with James, played by Peter Anthony. There really have been few physical challenges for Jason in the main series. I guess the closest is Ali from Part 3, or maybe Julius from Part 8. Peter Anthony seems like a bit of an uber fan as he has starred and produced 3 Friday the 13th fan films, Rose Red, Vengeance, and now Fall of Camp Blood. All of them I've covered here on ML Miller Frights. He definitely has a strong presence, and it's fans like Anthony and filmmakers Riley Lorden and Nick Christian who are keeping the old hockey mask warm and relevant since the owners of the franchise can't seem to get their shit together. Be sure to check out The Fall of Camp Blood. The link is down below before the comments. Next up, I wanted to share the news of the premiere of the new teaser from Steve Merlot's upcoming The Sawyer Family Massacre, which is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film. I spoke with Merlot a while back in an interview, and I'll link to that down below as well. Turns out, after a successful crowdfunding campaign, Merlot was able to film the entire movie in Texas. And from the looks of that teaser, this one's got the same kind of grimy, sweaty, dirty feel of the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I also love that Merlot is using the right kind of chainsaw for good old Leatherface to dance with. It's Merlot's attention to detail and passion to make a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that gives me high hopes for this new fan film. You can find a link to the teaser and more info on the fan film for the Sawyer Family Massacre below before the comments.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're